A lot of us women are the strong ones in relationships, but what happens when the very thing that was used to help you survive starts preventing you from experiencing and receiving the love you actually want? Because sometimes the problem isn't that you're too strong. The issue is when strength becomes your only way of relating. The strong woman often becomes the relationship manager. And what do I mean by relationship manager? Let's just start with planning things. We are the ones that are putting together and curating the itineraries for life day to day. Everything is on us, especially if we're dealing with this dynamic in a romantic capacity. We're the ones that are coming up with the grocery list. We're trying to figure out who's going where and when. We're the ones that are making decisions for the relationship in general. Everything is what do we think? And that ties into initiating things. I've said this before in some older videos, but the strong one in the relationship is often the one who has the gumption to have the hard conversations, to make the difficult decisions, to jumpstart the things that need to get done that have not been getting done. And because strong women tend to overfunction, there's often the emotional weight of carrying a relationship. So there's the physical aspect, but physical things become emotional very quickly when our energy is spent and exhausted. And now we feel depleted, we don't feel supported, and we don't have the energy that we need to do the things that we want or that we deem are necessary for our well being. And so we end up carrying the burden, even the resentment in a lot of relationship dynamics because we are seen as the strong one and everybody else just kind of gets a laxed pass. This also ties into anticipating needs. When you're the strong one, you're oftentimes catering to the weaker person in the room, whether that's a friend or a family member or a romantic partner. We typically tend to be the strong one because we've been able to manage situations and people's emotions all simultaneously. And because we're anticipating needs and reading the room, especially if we are strong, empathic women, now we're known as being the fixers because we can see problems often from a mile away. And so we are bringing resolution and solving mysteries and bringing answers to everybody's questions. And this is literally the definition of a supervisor, of a manager. In some senses, it makes us feel like we are micromanagers. Does this resonate with you? If so, let me know in the comments. Many of us think that we're just doing our part to participate in the relationship, but what we often don't realize is we're not just participating, we're running the show. Whether we want to or not, we are managing the entire relationship enterprise. Control can be a response to disappointment. When we've experienced inconsistency in relationships, we often tend to go into overdrive. Our brain starts working overtime, trying to control situations to create more favorable outcomes, or at least it works to minimize damaging outcomes compared to something that's happened before in the past. The problem is control can create distance from the very connection that we want. So, whenever we start micromanaging and trying to control outcomes, we inevitably end up controlling people. And whenever you're dealing with people who value their freedom, they value their autonomy, they value their own individual agency. And if you're dealing with a masculine man, he values his own leadership to show up and do what he needs to do without being told what to do. That can create the very distance that I mentioned when someone starts pulling away. They're not answering phone calls, they're not responding to text messages as much, or they're sending one liners. It can feel from their perspective like we are smothering them with communication, with requests, with all the things that would make someone want to pull away. And at the root of it, it is control that is driven by fear, fear of the worst. You know, the statement, hope for the best, but plan for the worst. You can't really hope for the best when you're planning for and expecting the worst. And that's oftentimes what we get into relationships doing as the strong women that we tend to be. We want to make sure that everyone's good. We want to make sure that no one has any problems, including ourselves. So if we can control an outcome, that's oftentimes what we're going to tend to do, again, whether we want to or not. Being needed is not the same as being loved. And as a strong woman, it is kind of hard and daunting to think that someone may not truly love you if they don't need you. And that is honestly the truth. This is why you can see a lot of women who will build a man up only for him to leave her and go on to the woman he prefers because she was his stepping stone, because he needed her to get a leg up in life. But once the need is gone, then what? And I remember having this experience younger in my dating days where there was a young man who essentially told me something to the tune of needing me versus wanting me. And I don't know if I was the one who said it or if he said it, but the conversation pretty much ended on, I don't want you to need me. I want you to want me. Because regardless of the need, when it's there and when it's not, do you still want to be around? That goes a much longer way, because if you're only there for someone's benefits, for what someone can do for you, not for who that person is, not for how you want to share life and love with that individual, you're not really in a loving situation. We're not in a loving situation. We oftentimes in these relationships, we look to be indispensable to prove our worth and to show that we matter. But healthy love is not built on someone needing you to survive. Because then at that point, we're dealing with children. We're dealing with someone who needs us for their sustenance and they can't stand on their own 2 feet. And that's not love, at least not reciprocal, adult, romantic love. The goal isn't becoming less powerful. Healing is not about playing small or no longer being seen or felt as a strong woman. Healing is no longer feeling the urge, the need, the compulsion to prove, to show, to do, to perform, to carry everything in order to be worthy of love, to be worthy of receiving all that we give out. I have seen some of the most powerful people do far less and get far more. And that's the paradigm that I have worked to not only shift myself into, but to also help other ladies who I coach in my programs do the same thing. And so the question that I want to leave with you is not, how can I become softer? Because I know a lot of femininity talk and masculine versus feminine energy conversations surround how to get the soft life. And there's nothing wrong with the soft life. I absolutely believe in it. But I think we often miss something when we're solely focused on aesthetics and we're not focused on internal energy, because that drives and dictates everything more than the color of your lipstick and the fragrance that you're wearing. So, again, the question is not, how can I become softer? The deeper question is, why did I believe I had to be strong all the time in the first place? See, this is the deeper root work that is necessary in order to get to the source and remove the background programming that's been running our lives in a disempowering way. And if this is resonating with you, and you want to begin to do that deep transformative work so that you can identify what has been driving your attraction patterns, your relationship outcomes, and not only identify it, but do the rewiring work to change the story and to get different outcomes and to step in more aligned love. That is what you will experience in Love Notes coaching and in my other programs. If you're interested in joining the journey with me, the link for that is in the description box beneath this video. If this video has resonated with you, let me know in the comments what part speaks to you the most. And also give a thumbs up, like, subscribe, follow for more content like this. And when you're done with that, be sure to check out my previous video if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one.